All right, gather around. I got a lot to say. I know we've all been talking a lot of shit today, but I think personally, we really should give a round of applause to Doug Ford for being the roundest boy in Ontario. And you can take that from me, a fellow round boy. It's really something to behold, and all of us from the community were real proud. But enough banter. If you'll allow me, I'm going to tell a story about something that happened to me last week. I was in a barber shop last week getting this haircut in the downtown area, and I overheard a conversation between a student sitting in a chair and one of the workers. The student said that one time when he went out drinking just recently, he saw one of the bartenders studying from a textbook between serving people drinks. The student said, I'm sure we all have friends that are in similar situations to this bartender, and this student said that he admired the bartender for her impressive hustle. Those were his exact words. And I admire her too, but I also pain for her. We live in a society of hustle. We live in an economy built on the hustle of our youth and young adults. What does it mean to succeed in Canada today? We're all students here, and I know everyone can relate to this. We are all told from an early age, go get a stable job in a high-paying industry. Become a dynamic employee. How? They say, go to post-secondary school. You will pay a very large sum of money to be there, and you might need to take out a loan before the age of 20. But this is only because you are purchasing your future, and because you are making an investment. In time, the money will flow, and you will attain a higher income than if you had skipped school entirely. And at this point, you will have achieved the full benefits of your education. Is there an alternative to this narrative? Do students have choice in their lives? It certainly feels as though we have very little choice in our lives. We must obey administrators demanding tuition. We must obey our bosses demanding our time for a shift so we can get through school and pay for it. After that, we have to obey unpaid internships. We must obey landlords demanding for us to pay rent. This is what we are told gets you ahead. And as such, at the university, all students, de facto, are transformed into customers, purchasing their futures. We hear this narrative again and again and again. The education we pay for is considered a product, a commodity. But really, who benefits from our education? Because it's not just us. Most students do not become self-employed upon graduation. Instead, employers hire students, and they get to choose from a very skilled pool of future employees. That's all of us. Our future employers will profit from our talents at a much greater rate than we will personally, despite that we pay for our education. And for this reason, I say that all students on our campus are workers. We sit and we study for the benefit of others. And after we go off and work for them, every now and again, some of these employers will kick a few $1 million towards this university to establish a new kind of program, creating an even more specialized class of potential employees to choose from. And our employers will have the nerve to call this an act of charity. But if anyone tries to tax them so that the government can properly fund our education, they will cry out, "No, you can't tax us. We're job creators." They say that we need them, but the reality is they need us. All this, by the way, happens at the same time that most graduates aren't even this lucky to land a job. Most graduates fail to find employment in their discipline at all. They become underemployed. And then, and only then, the student debt begins to pile up. Beyond ethics or morality or your politics or whatever, you gotta admit this system is broken. Last week, the federal government wrote off $200 million in student debt they say they will never be able to reclaim because we're not earning enough. Holy crap, really? The year before that, the feds wiped out another $200 million. And this has happened 4 times in the last 5 years. The system is not working, people. Students should not be punished with debt for wanting an education. Our campus is not a factory. However, the government continues to view universities in these terms. They have removed the lifelines for so many vulnerable students by cutting OSAP. We shouldn't have to struggle to feed ourselves in order to get an education. The reality is, though, most people are convinced that we cannot change the model of education funding that we have in place. The media says it would cost billions of dollars to pay for tuition-free education. Where will the money come from? Who will be taxed? The media and the elite in our province say that the citizens of Ontario and Doug Ford's wealthy friends lack the resources to pay for it, to which I say, bullshit! But the reality, folks, is this. We're trying to convince people that we could create a fairer society, and this is a very difficult task. And we, as students, need relief yesterday. So what can we do right now to survive? How can we resist immediate injustice and hardship in the educational system?
Student strike!
Student strike!
Student strike!
That's an idea.
General strike.
Well, I can tell you what we have done in the past. Folks, we've been here before. Students on this very campus united together to create services like the food bank, the Bull Ring, the Canon.ca, Safe Walk, the Bike Center, and have negotiated every semester with Guelph Transit to create a cheaper bus pass for students, just for students. All of these things help make our lives easier, but we forgot how we were able to achieve these things in the first place. It was because we, the students, made sure that our money would be spent in ways that we wanted it to be spent. We made sure that our pool of money would be channeled through an organization that is founded on the value of student democracy. In June 1973, we, the students of Guelph, founded an organization that would be overseen by students and no one else as the final authority as to how our money would be spent. The democratically controlled organization of which I speak is the Central Student Association, the CSA. It is the only organization on campus that is directly controlled according to the demands of undergraduate students. It is one of the few spaces on campus structured for the students, by the students. And although the CSA may not be perfect, it is the best thing we've got. It's the best chance we've got. Because in this society, no one else is going to let us call the shots. The cure to inequity and inequality is and always has been democracy. Doug Ford has declared war on the very existence of student democracy, and I want to ask everyone here today, will we be silent as he does so?
No!
Will we be silent as he takes away our funding for poor and vulnerable students?
No!
Will we let our democratically elected institutions burn into nothing and let us be in total shit all the time? No! No! Fuck no! I'm not finished. If we are going to be the generation to fight poverty, to impose accountability on the greedy rich, and to fight climate change, the time to begin the fight is now. The time is now to run for the CSA. The time is now to defend one another. The time is now to have hard conversations with our friends and peers about what is happening on our campus. The time is now to become full participants in our democracy and full members of student unions. The time is now for the youth to become what we have always been meant to become. The students united will never be defeated, but if we're not, we're good as dead.